we were talking about that trucker boycott in Florida, and that is part of a function of a host of laws that have been passed, suite of laws that have been passed in Florida. One is a statute aimed at, it is 322.033. I don't know how the Florida statute, they read those, but that's what it is. Undocumented individuals from using out-of-state driver's licenses in the state of Florida. As you know, every state recognizes driver's licenses from other states. So that, let's say I'm a truck driver and I've been licensed in Pennsylvania, I can drive down to Florida or to Texas or to California or to Massachusetts. Or even if I am licensed in New York and I want to take a trip with my kids and drive down to North Carolina to see some relatives, which I'm planning to do. Then maybe go to West Virginia and see a state park or national park, et cetera, et cetera. Some states license undocumented immigrants. Why do they do this? They do this because we know there are undocumented immigrants in our society, and enforcing the immigration laws are the job of the federal government. It's a policy decision on the federal level, but you do not want people who live in your community to drive without a driver's license, because that's dangerous. You want them to be tested to make sure that they can drive. Same reason why you have like first responders, not work with immigration officials, because if somebody sees that there's a fire down the street, you want them to report that and not be afraid that they're going to be swept up in an immigration raid. If they see, someone getting hurt, you want them to report that and not be afraid that they're going to get swept up in an immigration. I mean, this is basic stuff to make society work better, regardless of your opinion as to whether undocumented immigrants should be deported or not.
Yeah, I would say if you value freedom, you should prefer the less state policing of this thing.
Without a doubt. But just from a safety and maintaining safety in your community, protecting your family and your children and whatever, it just simply makes sense. It is common sense to have everybody in the country, if you're going to drive, you got to have a license. Because there are some requirements to getting a license in terms of your skills, not your identity. So Florida no longer allows, if an undocumented individual has a license issued by another state that is a class of license issued exclusively to undocumented immigrants who are unable to prove lawful presence, that license will not be recognized by the state of Florida, and the person will be issued a citation for driving without a license. Now, how will a police officer determine whether they should check your license or not? Because what this actually is in practice is a license for Florida police, Florida cops, to essentially profile people and go and harass people to see about their licenses. Let me see your license. Why? We got this law. Just have reason to believe you could be undocumented. I notice you're speaking Spanish. Notice you're speaking some other language. I just wanted to check your license. That's what's going on here. And now you have Florida truck drivers, particularly Latino ones, are talking about a boycott. It's unclear how effective this boycott or how widespread it is. But here is a video from TikTok from user Roberto Sandoval. He is an activist. I don't believe he is a truck driver, but he's referencing various truck drivers. And did you give me that? Oh, here it is. Okay. And this is the best translation we have of this. It is national strike truck drivers do not enter the state of Florida. We're all united as Latinos in defense. Well, here, play it, and then I'll read this.
Paro nacional. Troqueros, camioneros, no entrar al estado de la Florida. Vamos todos unidos como latinos en defensa de nuestros hermanos latinoamericanos que están siendo azotados por esa ley tan estúpida, tonta, que incita al odio y a la discriminación del estado de la Florida. Paro nacional, mi troque no se mueve, no entrar a la Florida, nadie entra a la Florida. Vamos que sí se puede todos. Y este 1 de junio vamos a unirnos, un día sin inmigrante, sin enviar a nuestros hijos a la escuela, sin salir de nuestras casas, no ir de compra a ningún lado. Este 1 de junio vamos, ahorita podemos nosotros hacer algo para remover esa ley. Vamos que sí se puede todos.
So the rough translation is that there's, calling for a national strike of truck drivers to not enter the state of Florida, saying that we're united as Latinos in defense of our Latin American brothers who are being hit by that stupid law that incites hatred and discrimination in the state of Florida. National strike that is don't enter Florida. No one enters Florida. Let's go. We can do this. And in June 1st, we're going to unite one day without immigrants. By not sending our kids to school, not leaving our homes, not going shopping anywhere this June. Let's go right now. We can do something like this to remove that law. Everyone can do it. And, that's the best that we could do with our limited Spanish and translation buttons here. But I don't know. We'll track this. It's very hard to know how real this is and whether, you've got, whether people are willing to, whether it's independent truckers who won't take jobs that are sending stuff down to Florida, whether it's going to be payrolled truckers, if they're willing to say, I'm sorry, boss, I'm not going to Florida type of thing. Who knows? But it's good to, it's at least it's raising the attention of this law in Florida. And so who knows, the efficacy. This is Ron DeSantis attacked Disney, and I'm no big fan of Disney, but if he's willing to do that, I don't think the idea of Latino people being upset at him is really a problem for Ron DeSantis. But
no, I think they probably think it's an asset. It's just like whether they're right or not is,
exactly.
Unclear.
And again, though, this is, this is the reasonable version of the Republican Party, right? This is the non-Trump option.
Yeah. Sure. I think I'm the reason.
He doesn't really mean it, though.
I'm actually more reasonable than all those guys.
He's not as good.